If you're just joining us, we've already gone through the recurve gold medal matches here in Virginia. The wind has definitely been a talking point in our field of play. Now, Rio, one of the things that's interesting about USA Archery is people shoot in different clubs all around the country, may have a target that's 50 meters, but our target direction in which they face is all standardized, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually to the north. They try to do that to keep the sun out of your face when you're shooting, so it isn't in your face in the morning or in your face in the evening. So you kind of do get it coming across, but for the most part, they try to get it as a northern-facing target.
All right, this is not Braden Gellenthien versus Paige Pierce. Those are the coaches for the athletes that are getting ready to come. Yeah. Although that would be a very interesting match. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
So the coaches are in play. Now it's time to get our athletes onto the field of play for the compound senior women. And the two that have shot their way into this gold medal match on the left part of your screen, now the right part of your screen, is Tanja Gellenthien, and standing to her left is Alexis Ruiz.
Both of them are very experienced archers. Been on the international stage. They've, got some pretty good resumes. I'm not positive, but both of them I think are going to the World Cup finals. They're both going to the World Championships for sure, but I think they're both even have had a good enough year. They're both going to the World Cup finals.
Tanja, of course, representing Denmark.
Yeah.
She's doing that, and Alexis Ruiz representing the United States. Tanja, now married to Braden Gellenthien, one of our top archers in the United States on the World Cup team, has told me that she continues to choose to shoot for her maiden country. Even when her green card, which she's still waiting for, comes into the country, she's going to be getting on an airplane on Monday and heading back home, is Tanja. We'll talk more about that in a moment. As for this athlete, she's going to start us off. Alexis Ruiz going to send it down, and bingo, an X.
She didn't look like it felt like it was an X, so the wind down there could be something different.
An X and a 10 score the same point value.
Yeah.
So getting used to the wind. Tanja Gellenthien off into the 9 ring. Ruiz drops. So this is cumulative scoring. Tell us about that.
Okay, this is every arrow will count. Every point you shoot will continue to carry on. So it's 10-9. The target scores out 10-9, 8, 7, 6, and I don't know that maybe a 5 ring. I'm not positive. Yep, there's a 5 ring. And every arrow you shoot will just
shoots. He doesn't even know there's a 5 ring out there. Never seen it.
And so when you're shooting, it's just the whole thing of like every arrow is going to count. So she has a 28. So now it will just keep carrying on. And at the end, after the 15 arrows, the total points will be who wins and loses.
Ooh. For Tanja, that didn't look like it. That came off very well. So she's in the out there. That'd be 8 or a 7. Normally, if it was totally still conditions, this start, you look at Tanja and you're like, oh, I just gave up 3 points to Alexis. But somehow, with the way that this wind is gusting, it doesn't feel like this match is over with 4 ends to go.
No. I did learn that Alexis didn't make the World Cup finals. It's Paige and Savannah.
Okay.
So, but they're still both going to be at the World Championships. They've had good years. They've made teams. I mean, to make a U.S. women's team is fairly tough nowadays, so to even be going to the World Championships. But
Alexis, part of our team that represents the United States in World Archery. However, in talking to Alexis Ruiz, she is heading off September 7th to nursing school. And she's 4 semesters of nursing school. And so I said, well, Alexis, what does your future hold in archery? And she said, actually, we're playing it by ear. We're going to see how things start to shape up. Is she going to be able to, during nursing school, have the time to fulfill her commitments? Now, Rio, let's just say Alexis is on the team.
Yeah.
If she couldn't, if she didn't have time or she felt like her studies, were suffering because of her commitment to USA Archery and going to the World Archery Championship, matches that we have all over the world, what is her options then? What happens in that situation?
You have to pretty much make a choice. One's going to have to do the other, and I mean...
So let's say she decides that there isn't enough time in nursing school.
Yeah.
What would happen then to the team?
Well, then you'd go to the alternate.
Okay.
I mean, USA Archery has a pretty good pool of... we shoot for the whole year to build a ranking system, and if someone doesn't attend the events, then they go to the next alternate. And I don't know who that would be or where it would be. I mean, but I know that, like, we do have a list.
So Alexis Ruiz holding a comfortable lead into the second of 5 ends.
Oh.
Yeah, it looked.
It was a little longer hold, and she wasn't. Again, the first 10 she shot, she had that same look of like, oh. So maybe she's breaking on a little bit of the right side, and that wind's carrying it over in the left because it's just a surprise. But Tanja needs to start putting some arrows in the middle to put some pressure on her.
Yeah, plus she just needs the confidence, I think, and that's really the big thing for Tanja at this point, Gellenthien.
And that's a hard part when you come out on this stadium. I mean, you walk out here and you're like, and it's just, sometimes it just doesn't hit, and it just gets more and more frustrating and builds up to like, man, come on. And so, I mean, 3 9s.
Yeah, just painting them around the 10 ring.
Yeah, and that could be like you trying to guess where the wind's blowing and where it's going, and not really bad shots, but just not the wind. You're not outguessing the wind.
Wow.
And
it
doesn't help when your competitor's shooting 30s.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, it doesn't help your confidence. It's like, come on, you got to help me out, but they're not really giving you anything.
Okay, so Rio, on a compound bow, we have obviously a sight with a scope and a powered lens. And of course, Alexis looking on the string, you can see her peep sight lining the string. Okay, so when we shoot in the wind, what are some of the techniques that archers use to compensate for that wind?
Some of the things they try to do is they try to aim off. They actually have a level in their scope, and some people will move the bubble left or right, which in turn will cause you to torque the bow, which will cause an arrow to go left or right, and the same thing. A lot of archers have a personal preference on it. I mean, I personally, if it's pretty consistent, will move my sight a little bit and aim off a little bit. There are guys, like I say, that just like to move that bubble over and let it come over and what feels good to them. So it's a personal preference, but it just, everybody's different.
Yeah, and if you're wondering about that bubble level inside the scope and which direction, what I've heard is, in general, you want to lean the top cam into the wind. That's going to give the direction on which the bubble needs to go, and that's going to help the arrow flight. The thing with bubbling off, though, is it can be very tricky. It takes quite a bit, I think, of knowledge and practice.
A lot of experience in it, for sure. And I can tell you, I've done both, and I can't say that there's ever one that I like better than the other. But
aiming off is something where, you know, normally you want to aim right in the middle of the target and send it, but then aiming off, if you know the wind's, say, coming left or right, you may want to scooch that dot over to the right a little bit, and then you got to figure that out as well. And then that messes with your brain because all you've been doing is practicing shooting in the middle. It's crazy.
For sure.
If you look at Tanja Gellenthien, you can see that the bow that she's shooting is a 38-inch axle-to-axle bow. She started the tournament off with a 36-inch axle-to-axle bow, and then decided, with kind of the way that everything was playing out, she felt that they would go to the 38-inch axle-to-axle just for a little bit better aiming. Well, that bow had nothing on it as of yesterday, so they went to the hotel room, they put a peep in it, they put some stuff on it, and she used qualification yesterday to really sight it in hopes of doing exactly that
and that'll
for today.
That'll put the pressure back on Alexis. I mean, she does have a 5-point lead. But when you start seeing your opponent put 10s down there in the back of your mind, you're like, well, if she can put 3 down there and I have a slightly rough end, it can come full circle in a hurry with the wind.
Gellenthien gets a point back.
Yeah.
And believe me, when Tanja Gellenthien starts to get into a rhythm or starts to get into a groove and figure it out, this is exactly what can happen. The question is it too little, too late? We're in the middle part of this match. Yep. There's the answer.
And if Alexis can hang on like that, it really is not. I mean, she's put herself in a position, Tanja has to need help.
Just out to the right.
But a 29, I think, in this wind is not going to hurt you too bad. I mean, even if Alexis shoots a 10 here, they tie. But she did.
Yep, she got it.
But at this point, too, you're right. Tanja needs a little help. She needs to be gaining more.
The arrow that just landed in the target for Alexis Ruiz is often referred to as a jar licker. You want to explain that, Rio?
It's just like on the edge of the edge of it, like when you got something that they're just licking, just barely touching.
The condensation on the outside of a bottle or something like that.
Yeah, jar licker.
A lot of fun archery terms if you come shooting.
Yeah, another one, screamer, because you're trying to scream that you hope it gets in. And like, I mean, I've heard a lot of them.
Yeah, you've been around a couple of times. So, as the official scores come in, judges are taking a look at arrows, determining what the point value is. You can see that line is definitely cut.
I can tell you, this can be some of the most nerve-wracking when you're sitting back here if you're in a close match. Like, man, how is it? How is it? And a big help is your agent you have down there. Because sometimes they will know before the score appears on the board or anything, and then give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And so I've learned there are some agents that are a little better than others to give you ideas of what's going on.
Well, one time when I was in Vegas shooting, I had a friend as an agent, someone looking through the binos, Rich Govin. And I was getting ready to shoot a 300, and every time I turned around and looked to see if the arrow, and he wouldn't even look at me. He just kind of nodded his head. I'm like, you're not helping me, man. Okay, I need good communication. I need you to say, yes, you got it in, instead of just giving me like an eyebrow nod. Yeah, that type of communication from your agent is vital.
Yeah, and it makes I can tell you, even in the coach's box, if they can tell you quick enough to know where it's at, it can make you more relaxed. Because if you have that arrow that's close and you're like, your nerves, and you just have that shock of like, come on, be there. And if they can just tell you, yes, it is, or no, it isn't, it can drop that anxiety down just tons.
So for Tanja Gellenthien, tied that end. So the lead for Alexis Ruiz is still 5. It's 87-82 here in end number 4. We have 5 total.
She starts off with a 10, so that can...
And we're hearing it too, by the way, over the PA system. Yeah. So good answer from Ruiz.
She's not, I mean, Tanya's starting to put some in there, but Alexis is not giving her any room to catch back up.
Yeah, what's going on with Gellenthien now, it needed to start one end earlier, I believe.
Yeah. Well, there's a little help. But again, like I said, when you step out on that field, sometimes it's hard to get it. Well, there you go. There's a good one.
Poor Tanya's going to be so frustrated because once you find that groove, it's like, why couldn't I have just picked it a little bit? Now, the wind has definitely died down here.
Yeah.
But another good solid 10 from Ruiz.
But you're still, like, you look back at that one end, you're like, man, if I'd have just started a little bit earlier, I could have.
Plenty of experience with Tanja over the years. From Copenhagen in Denmark. Having a great run at it. Closing in on a year of marriage. I think they're about a month and a half away from celebrating the anniversary with the Gellenthiens.
Yeah, it still seems weird to call her that.
I know.
Forever she's been Jensen, and
I know. Even when I see her, I'm like, hey, TJ, what's up? She just doesn't say anything, but it's TG now, I guess.
Yeah.
Great shots.
But she's come back. She's got it in order, so if she can get the door to open a little bit, there is an opportunity, but as long as this wind stays died down like it seems to be coming up, it's going to be tough to gain back 4 points.
4 points to decide the gold medal at 2021 U.S. Open, presented by USA Archery. We're here in Henrico County, part of the Richmond, Virginia Tourism Board, here at Dorey Park in Virginia, just outside of Richmond, right down the street from the airport. A lot of these archers having commuted here by car, quite a few of them getting on an airplane. You can see the clocks right in front of Tanja. 20 seconds to execute your shot. Got to be a 10.
Yeah,
and
she does. Well, the one part about Alexis is she walks in with 4 points. In your mind, I can shoot 3 9s and I can't lose.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like you have that thought process, so you relax a lot, and so
and that happens exactly. Yeah. We call it holding gold. All you got to do is just get it in there. And
sometimes you relax too much, but a lot of times it just gives you the confidence, if you've been shooting well, to just pull up and put them in the middle.
Dropped it a little low there. And that's the thing I was going to mention too, is you always have to be mindful, especially today, and what's going on with the wind.
Yeah.
But the way Alexis Ruiz has put her stamp on this one is impressive.
Yeah, I mean, with the 10 here, she'll shoot a 146 in this breeze. That's definitely a nice round.
So can she finish it off just like she did in the second round, second end? She does with a nice 30.
Really nice group right there on the upper left-hand side of the X-ring.
The gold medalist, Alexis Ruiz. So a 28 in end number 1, a 30 in end number 2, then a 29, 29, and 30 to wrap that one up.
Yeah, it's a good round there in that breeze. She shot very well.
So Alexis Ruiz, the Arizona native, 22 years old, heading to nursing school. Still has more archery this year.
Yeah, she's got the World Championships. Like, I thought maybe the World Cup Finals, but I learned that that's not true. It's Van der Weer and Pierce that are going to be there, or yeah, will be at the World Cup Finals. So, but she does still have the World Championships, and the girls shot the team event yesterday and shot really well. So,
outstanding shooting by Alexis Ruiz. Great job to finish that one off, Alexis. Great shooting. How was it out there for you?
It was very nerve-wracking. The wind is very hard to read, especially with the stands. So I felt the wind more on my body, and then the flags were showing something different. So every first arrow was more just trying to figure out a spot to aim, and then if I have to make an adjustment, I make the adjustment for the next arrow.
How did it help you a lot in the last few ends to have those extra points there to relax and not have to worry as much about the wind?
It helped a lot. It helped me just trust my shot. I didn't have to worry to come back from points. So I think it helped a lot.
And what about your confidence heading off? You have a little bit more archery left to go in the year.
Yeah, going into the World Championships after this one means so much because Tanja will be there, Toya will be there, Danelle, all the top archers were here, and I still managed to win. So I have a lot of confidence going into the World Champs.
That was great shooting. Congratulations on your victory and your gold medal, and we'll see you sometime soon.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so Alexis Ruiz wrapping up the compound senior women's gold medal here at the 2021 U.S. Open, wrapping up 3 very interesting and distinctly different days of shooting, from temperature to rain to wind to clouds. It is thrown pretty much everything except snow and sleet at archers.